Health and peace and happiness for everyone. Ashreinu, how good and beautiful is our heritage. Chanukah, the festival of light. Parashat Miketz, Tafshin Pei Bet. Rav Moshe Tzvi Neriah was one of the founding leaders of what is today called religious Zionism in Israel. Rav Neriah passed away a week before Chanukah in Tafshin Nun Vav, and I'd like to quote from his shiurim on Chanukah. In several of his shiurim on Chanukah, Rav Neriah stresses that the struggle was a spiritual struggle, a struggle about kedushah. And that is why he says in the words that we say after lighting the candles, Hanerot halalu she'anu madlikim, we say, who brought us the victory in the war against the Yevanim? The war was performed al yedei kohanecha kedoshim. The war was carried out by Kohanim to show that it was a war of kedushah, a war over holiness. It was a religious war which is called Shat Hashmad. We are supposed to even be willing to die to keep the Torah and the mitzvot. Even better than die to not transgress the mitzvot is to go to war and fight so that we can continue to keep the mitzvot. But the fact that the warriors, the soldiers in this war, were the Kohanim, shows us that the war of Chanukah was about kedushah. It was about the Yevanim wanting, as we say in Al Nisim, lehashkicham toratecha ulehaviram mechukei retzonecha, to make us forget the Torah and the mitzvot. The war was performed by the Kohanim because it is a war over holiness. Dafka, with this in the background, it's interesting to note that in another one of his shiurim, Rav Neriah stresses the importance of the fact that through this war, Am Yisrael once again achieved independence, achieved an independent kingdom, a new independent state. That this is also important, that not only holiness is important, but also having a Jewish state, Jewish political reality is also of value. The Rambam in Ilchot Chanukah says that it's important to note that for hundreds of years, 200 years, more than 200 years, says the Rambam, after this war we achieved this political kingdom, this independent kingdom of Bnei Israel. To show, says Rav Neriah, that the state is also important for the kedushah. The independence is also important. Not only kedushah is important, also independence is important. Kedushah can add to independence. Independence can strengthen kedushah. These two can go together. There are people, when they celebrate Chanukah, they celebrate only the side of kedushah. They overlook the aspect of independence. There are people who focus on the aspect of independence, and they're not so interested in the aspect of kedushah. But one of the aspects of religious Zionism, one of the strengths, one of the unique characters of religious Zionism is that we don't choose either A or B. We often put the two together and seek to find the right balance, the right combination of putting these two values together. And the fact that Rav Neriah gives attention to each of these two sides and stresses how each one of them is important is a message about the way, the derech of religious Zionism. Of course, there are other issues that we have to understand in a deeper way about this combination of the state and the spiritual issues. Is it always good to try and bring spirituality through the power of the state? Is it good that the kings were also, that the spiritual leaders also became the political leaders in that time? What is the depth of the combination of the relationship between the state and the aspects of kedushah? But we also know, and this message stands strong, it is up to us to see to it that the state strengthens the kedushah, and the kedushah strengthens the state. Chanukah Sameach, Shabbat Shalom.